Didn't work in 1932.
And it's not working now.
I'm sorry to say.
Good afternoon. This is Occupier Kayleen coming to you live from the Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement office here in Des Moines. We are awaiting the start of a meeting between the Iowa Utilities Board and groups opposed to the Bakken oil pipeline that is slated to cross Iowa if approved. And if approved, it would cross prime farmland, it would cross aquifers, it would go under a river, and it's not a matter of if a spill will happen, it's a matter of when, where, and how bad. And so any conversations that are behind me are just people talking about different things like the Mayflower, Arkansas spill. And I ran into some union members outside who I believe are supporting the pipeline, but they were not invited to this meeting. So I believe they're going to try to do a protest outside. But I would rather be in here. So in a few minutes, we should get this meeting started. Some of the items on this agenda that I have here are, might not be able to focus very well on this. The eminent domain, safety problems, climate justice, and trying to set back the public hearing and other demands so that the landowners and the communities affected would have better protection if the pipeline is approved. But personally, I don't see any of those kind of protections being put in place if approved. And there was just another Enbridge pipeline spill that I just saw a posting of earlier today. So like I said, it's not a matter of if a spill or leak will happen, it's a matter of when, where, and how bad. There are several groups opposed to the pipeline besides Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. There is a group called the Bakken Resistance Coalition, and there are about 30 groups involved, including local occupiers, Occupy the World Food Prize. We are a member, and I'm a member of that little group. Different organic farm groups, environmental groups are involved in this coalition to stop the pipeline, and we are spreading the word on social media about it. The Utilities Board is supposed to decide actions on utilities that will actually benefit Iowa and Iowans, but this pipeline does not. It is nothing more than a means of getting filthy tar sands crude out of fracked oil fields down to the Gulf for processing and eventual sale on open market, and we will not see a drop. Unlike natural gas or water lines or electricity lines, we will not benefit from it. If a natural gas pipeline crosses a farmer's land, the farmer can tap into it. A community can tap into it. If an electricity line crosses some private property, they can tap into it, and so on. There is a banner over there that's leaning against the wall. Stop the back.
Grassroots pressure against that. Yeah, we got an early offer.
You want?
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Back to work from noon. Yeah, I do. It's just me in the corn. It's just me in the cornfield. And my special audio books and whatnot. You know.
Well, listen, as long as there's an old Sheldon Munn, we can't see to check our Main Street. We got signs on the side. It's on Main Street. And the old Sheldon Munn Hotel used to be a bar. Yeah. We are.
There are signs all over this room related to clean water, environment. I saw that post about the court ruling.
Do they want that? I know, but does the family want it? Oh, good. All right. Ooh, no, never give up. Fight until...
Did you see that about that court ruling that the landowners have to allow the surveyors on? I thought that was so whacked. It's a scam. There's a farmer here in Iowa who had a court ruling that says that he has to allow the pipeline company surveyors onto his land in order to stake out the pipe route and to market. And he tried to fight it, but he got an initial court ruling against him. And personally, I hope that he appeals it. So when I saw that post on the internet, I shared it. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them in the chat as this thing goes on. Sometimes I can type in the chat, sometimes I can't. It just depends on the environment that I'm streaming in. I'm burning data since I don't have the building's Wi-Fi password. Looks like we're getting a few more people in here. I think we've got to get this thing started. It is now. Quite a number of the people that are in this room are also part of Occupy Des Moines.
It's going too fast.
Well, you we were out there, we came out for the national bank.
Folks, the front row, they're not going to bite. Being in the front row means they can just hear you better. Don't be afraid of the front row.
Iowans sit in the back pew. That's what we do.
I normally sit in the front row, but there was one seat here.
It's so funny. I duck out in the back.
The front row works for me. Again, I apologize for late start. We're still waiting for people to get in here.
How have things been on your land?
Well, they've done 4 times. They've done 4 times a year.
Whoa.
See, I got 4 pipelines.
I remember you saying you had.
And they have a right to come on and leave if they want to, and a right to go back off. So there's no limit to the lights. And all of their
fine, I don't care, you know, but, now they're written into the program, and we got paid 50 cents per linear foot. It's a little bit
That's
different
spit.
than $14,000, so. It is. Yeah.
That is spit compared to what your land's worth. That is absolute spit. I was commenting on a woman who has pipelines and on her land already of various sorts, and she has surveyors and crews in all the time on to either inspect or survey, and in the contracts they can come and go when they please, and only now she's getting a pittance of compensation. You can't even call it a royalty because it's only 50 cents per foot for each pipe that runs through her land, and that's nowhere near what her land is actually worth. At the end of this meeting, there will be a Q&A.
Just 1 second. Because we had some people hanging out in our parking lot, we're going to give maybe 5 more minutes for folks to wander in. Make sure we have everyone who registered who's going to be here. So just hang tight, keep on chatting. I'll be back up in a second, okay?
A second's up. Sorry, just having fun with them. As I said, at the end there will be a Q&A session. And when that is announced, if you have any questions, put them into the chat and I can read them aloud, hopefully. I will check the chat frequently. It may not always. Sometimes I can actually type it, a response. Sometimes I can't. It just depends on the environment that I'm streaming in. And we have a kid present, which is good, because this is their future that we're trying to protect.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, no. No, that's great. And there's many issues that this organization is involved with.
Just taking a drink from my water bottle.
I'll just keep coming back to that one. Every time.
We gotta be brief, that's the problem. I'd like to say a few more words. We don't have
While I'm waiting for this to get started, I also want to give a shout out to any channels that might be restreaming my broadcast tonight, whether it be Global Occupy News Network or Actors World News Now or Liberty Drum or any of the other restream channels that are picking up my feed and rebroadcasting it, please do support them, and also support any other streamers, especially those in the areas where you live. And if there are not any streamers in your particular area, learn how to do it. If you're willing or able to eat a big data plan, get out there and stream your town, stream events like this, and document it, and be part of the new media. This should be an interesting meeting.
There was something I wish there's something.
Grab them later.
I want to know more
I'm just adjusting my monopod.
I was going to start us off with a big clap, but it seems like I have all of your attention, so maybe, I don't know, we can do it anyway.
Yes.
Excited?
Energy go on. Yeah.
This is
all in the zone, hopefully. First thing, a lot of folks are timely like you, right at 5 o'clock. We have folks who are going to be coming between 5 and 6, though, who are getting off work, who told us they weren't going to be able to make it till IUB staff actually arrived. That's all right. What we want to do right now, though, is fill in to the front. So if all the folks hanging out in the back, if you can move closer to me, I would really appreciate that.
It doesn't mean you're a sock up. It just means you're a seat filler.
But it does mean you're going to get up and talk. No.
We have those all taken care of. It'll just be easier for people to come in through the back and not disrupt things as we get going here. So I'll get started with introductions. I'm Nathan Malhusky. I'm a community organizer here at Iowa CCI, and I've been fighting this pipeline since I started back in November, and we're still going. We're going to stop it. So if you can share your name, where you're from, and why you're here, we can all get to know each other and have a good sense of who's in the room here. And if you're a landowner, let us know too. That is in the pipeline back.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your name again?
Nathan Malahusky.
Deborah Bunka from Ames, and I'm just happy to be here. We need to stop this in its tracks.
My name's Tom Mohan. I'm from Cedar Rapids, and I'll just be taking a couple of minutes to talk about safety concerns.
My name's Dan Gannon. I'm from Ankeny. Our farm's outside of Mingo, and the pipeline cuts 0.8 of a mile across our land. Hopefully I had all day to talk to him, but I've only got a couple of minutes. And I'm going to talk about briefly about eminent domain.
My name's Miriam Kasia. A year ago, just about now, I was with the Great March for Climate Action walking through Des Moines on my way to Washington, D.C. And I'm about all things stopping the climate destruction, and this is Iowa's baby, so that's why I'm here.
Yep.
My name is Gay Michelson. I'm from Iowa City, and I don't want to see pipelines anywhere.
Kaylin Strain, Iowan live streamer, and I will document these and make sure that their voices are recorded so they know that they're being watched.
Thank you.
I'm Seth Lane. I live in Cedar Rapids, and our farmland is in Boone County, and I think the oil should be left in the ground.
Yay.
Lee Barkley, Madrid. This pipeline's got to be stopped. Period.
I'm Lou Ann Burkle from Des Moines. I like that sign that says no oil in our soil, because it will be there.
Yep.
I'm Joe Fagan from Des Moines. I'm here to stop the Bakken pipeline, and I think the oil company wanna, for them, this is a symbol, they're not gonna quit. It's a permanent thing. They don't plan on changing. We gotta stop it.
My name is John, and I work with renewables, and Iowa being at the forefront of renewables, I find it kind of contradictory that we're now passing an oil pipeline to pass through our state. And hopefully here just, put a stop to that.
What flavor of renewables?
Wind.
Wind?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm Dick Clark. I'm a retired United Methodist minister, and then the last year or so, the environment has come to the top of my priority list, and I went to Al Gore's training in Cedar Rapids, and that was a great event, and so I'm trying to be active.
You're in the right place.
Arlene Bates, and I am a landowner in Story County, and we live in Polk County, and I am very concerned, very upset regarding our watersheds and also the eminent domain. How can we allow a private entity to come in and take our land? It's bad enough when the government comes in and maybe needs it for an interstate or needs it for power lines that help our community. We're not going to benefit from any of this. We're going to be hurt so deeply.
The whole world will
many
Yep.
years to come.
I'm Jim Bates. I'm here with my wife Arlene. And one of my biggest concerns is that it's going right over the middle of the Jordan Aquifer. And look what happened in Colorado. You know, accidents happens. If that ever gets contaminated, it can never be cleaned up.
Nope.
I'm Mary Ann Coke, and we need to care for our land in every which way we can. That's why I'm here.
I'm Joe Reuter, and this is my wife Janice. We have farmland in Boone County. We're about 300 feet from it right now, but we're in the 1 mile swath that they're taking. Last summer they wanted to go through our land. My wife kind of scared them off, so.
Heck yeah!
Tried to go on my neighbor's 2 acre acreage and totally screwed that up. Now they're moved back closer again. But anyway, my issues with the whole thing, by the way, I'm a licensed professional civil engineer in Iowa, so I know a little bit about construction. Okay, here we have a big problem. We don't seem to have qualified people inspecting things, and they're not really held accountable. For example, in one, Mr. Eric Barnes in Indiana cheated on some welding inspections, and he got caught, but all he got was 40 hours of community service. He did something that could have killed people, like he did in San Bruno, California. And then I was just looking at pictures of this spill in Mayflower, Arkansas. And Exxon's really not talking about what went wrong, and that's what scares me. Either they don't know, or they're not going to tell us. And do we want people building stuff like that?
Yeah, the Mayflower School, there's a photo of it right behind you, actually.
Okay, great, great. So I don't think the industry is capable of constructing anything that dangerous at this point in time.
Elaine Mattingly, I'm from Newton. Our family has land in eastern Iowa, though it's not along the pipeline. But I know that people in Jasper County of all ideological mindsets are very upset about the stockpiling of pipe in Newton. Some people have been paid off in Newton already, in Jasper County. And there's several points that I would like the IUB to hear. One is, why should all the risk be taken by taxpayers? Because I understand that the pipeline, anybody associated privately with the private pipeline people don't have enough money to deal with cleanup if something were to happen, which is irresponsible. And the other one is the risk to watersheds. The other one is to ask them to take the lead by incentivizing wind and solar, and saying that pipelines are safer than rail is a non-starter. That's not even the issue. We shouldn't even talk about that. And 2 years worth of temporary construction jobs, we shouldn't be having to pit our workers who need long-term jobs. They don't need temporary jobs. I'm from Newton. I know a little bit about long-term union jobs. And so that's what we should be incentivizing, long-term union jobs, not short-term with all the risk on Iowa taxpayers. So that's where I'm coming from.
Susie Petra, Ames, Iowa. I'd like to at some point inform people a little about what the Story County Soil and Water Conservation District Commissioners have just done, which is great. By the way, we all have some ownership, I believe. Part of this pipeline comes through Iowa State. My understanding is we taxpayers.
This is Mason Schneerstein, and he has a farm in Hamilton County. And I'm Virginia Swenson, his grandmother. And we have 4 pipelines through our property right now. Two 9-inch ones and 2 6-inch ones, and we have a 22-inch one behind our house because it was fought by our grandparents, right? Yes, in 1979, and I'm going to get emotional. Sorry about that. Okay, the pipeline exploded in 1979, and my father-in-law was killed due to it. And I hope nobody ever has to go through that. And it's not a point that will it leak. The point is it will leak. And if the pipeline had not been closed off at the turnoff valve 5 miles away, the whole town of Roland, Iowa would have gone up. My father-in-law had a heart attack that night and died. The person that turned off the valve that night had a heart attack and aged like 30 years in one night. They had to get on the telephones to figure out how to turn off the pipeline from Oklahoma because nobody had knowledge in the state of Iowa. This is something that we have to fight, and there's just no doubt about it. And I've gone online to Google, tried to find information about the pipeline, have not been able to find it. So I've given you a copy of the articles, and I have articles here too. But the pipeline, when it leaked, it started the ground on fire and it burned for 3 solid days. And there is no crop that grows back on that. That's 1979. So more power to everybody here.
I'd like to add the San Bruno accident in California was very similar, and that killed at least 6 to 8 people, destroyed 31 homes, same thing. Bad, and in that case, it was bad well.
Yes, that's what this is too. It was a patch-up job.
Right.
I'm Elaine Hagedorn, and I can't believe that every Iowan would not be against this pipeline. If we look at the record of disasters that have happened, including this lady with long experience.
My name is Ross Critters. I'm a CCI member from Pleasant Hill, Iowa. It's great to hear so many people that are interested in stopping the pipeline and talking some of the same things that we want to address with the IUB. I'm not just here to stop the pipeline. I'm here to stop the pipeline and then build on that and show that we have a responsibility to the future to do it a different way and a better way that benefits all Iowans.
I'm Bill Alexander. My wife's a farm owner in Fremont, Iowa.
My name is Mary Alexander, and I'm a future farm owner.
I'm Pam Alexander, I'm a landowner in Nebraska County. We live in the Tumble.
I'm Chris Wells from the Quad Cities, and I'm very concerned about climate change.
John Bowman, Quad Cities, concerned about this use of eminent domain. I think maybe the courts would block it since it's an improper use.
I'm Sandy Blessing. I'm totally against the pipeline going through Iowa because of what happened in Mayflower and all the other spills that have been happening. Plus, we're already contending with dirty water. Why do we want dirty soil?
I heard that.
Why doesn't Governor Frente have to say in this? Why doesn't he against it?
He's owned.
He was against eminent domain, but he's been conspicuously silent.
He's owned.
I'm Mary Clearwater, a landowner, and I'm against the pipeline because there's nothing good about it except money. And if past behavior is the best predictor of future, what's going to happen. You gotta look at North Dakota, you gotta look at all that. And if you look at the contracts they want you to sign, they don't say just crude oil. They say natural gas, they say all this other kind of stuff that you don't always understand. I mean, and also it says in there that they will have the right to assign the easements. Does that mean they can put other stuff down there, kind of sell that?
Yep.
So, I think it's totally, they don't tell the older people what all can happen. I don't think a lot of them know what's going on, and they're looking at that dollar amount for when they sign those. And I just think, I also am worried about the water. If it gets into the Raccoon, wherever, it's going to go right down to Des Moines. Okay.
That's good. Linda Meyer, I'm from Des Moines. Environmentally, this is just nuts. It's crazy. We have alternative energy in the state that we should be pushing. Our west, the watershed, it's ludicrous. So this is why I'm here.
I'm Virginia Strovers, a landowner in Jasper County. Concerned.
I'm Jim Strover. They're gonna go through my land, and I haven't had them on there yet. And so they've sent me several nasty letters because I haven't let them get on there yet.
It won't get any nicer either.
Very officious looking nasty ones. Jim Johnson, I'm from Des Moines. I have a long history of trophies accumulated from killing projects like this. I enjoy this. I do this for sport. This one's going down. I'm a persuasive speaker, and all that I need from this group is to know how do I get to speak to the IUB in the hearings. I don't need anything beyond that.
Well, you can start with your first question tonight.
Okay,
We'll get there.
okay.
My name's Jeff. I'm from Des Moines. I care about the environment.
I'm Bernadette Seibert from Ames, and I'm concerned about our water and land, but particularly water.
I'm Ken Seibert from Ames, and I've yet to hear one convincing argument that is positive about it.
I'm Mary Clark from rural Polk County, and I'm against everything that regarding corporate domination and oppression against the regular people in Iowa. They shouldn't have this much control, and I don't want my well water ruined. I don't want my soil ruined, and I don't want it ruined for my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. Or anybody else's great-great-grandchildren. All of them.
I'm Norma Easter, and I'm from Des Moines. And the top one I might say is eminent domain, used for private profit, but ditto to everything else. I mean, soil does not reproduce itself, and we have just so much of it. Don't ruin it.
My name is Michael. I'm from Pella, and I really like clean water, and I really hate oil spills.
I'm Dan Higginbottom. I'm the trustee to a family farm up in northern Polk County. For the most part, the pipeline is only going to clip an edge of our property, but I have greater concerns. At the top of the list is the abuse of eminent domain and the state setting a horrible precedent by allowing private company like Dakota Access coming in and taking the property against the will of the people. I worked as an environmental consultant in Minnesota for a number of years. I've worked on pipeline projects. I've seen the destruction that they cause going in the ground and after they're in the ground. And I sure don't want that on any of my neighbors or on my own property.
I'm Sharon Donovan from Clive, and I find it shocking that people would even consider allowing a company that is not based in Iowa, that any profit doesn't benefit Iowans, and that the environmental
damage will be suffered by Iowans, yet the profit goes to a company outside of the state. I can't understand any logic behind that at all.
I'm Lori Jones. I'm from Des Moines, a member of CCI, and I'm always here because I learned so much, so I'm getting educated. And I'm concerned, of course, about the environment, clean water, and climate change also.
I'm Holly Herbert. I'm from Des Moines. I'm here because I think that money should be spent on renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. I don't understand this country's obsession with continuing funding of fossil fuels when we know that long-term it's not sustainable. And also all the other concerns, of course, eminent domain being used by a corporation. Corporations are not people, and I think that private citizens and taxpayers should have the ability to stand up for themselves and say, no, we're not going to let this happen.
Paul Weiland, Fremont, landowner and tenant on a mile and a half of this project. And I guess that one of my biggest peeves with it is that eminent domain. It just isn't right for private industry to do that, have that ability.
I'm Randy Sarin. I've got 4 farms up there wanting to go across me, and I just want to say that the representatives from that oil company are the rudest, bossiest active people I ever seen. They think that they can just tell you, and you run them all, that you'll see the wife and threaten her. And I'm like everybody else here. I don't think eminent domain ought to be for a private company. You know, we let them go through. Who comes through next? Cargill or whatever. I mean, if one goes, they're all going to go. So I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right at all.
I'm Mark Swinehart. I'm from Des Moines. I have concerns with this pipeline. These politicians are owned by these oil companies, and they're trying to ram this down our throat. And they got awful deep pockets, and they're not going to be satisfied unless they get it done. And they need to be stopped.
That's right.
Val Stroman from Holland. I'm wondering if a county permit will be required first. I have to get a permit for, then does the county even exist for government? We found out with Lyman and Story County that it was cut and dried by following. Source of the pipe, origin, Chernobyl. China's gotten iron from Chernobyl disaster. Hopefully our children aren't getting that, but what is the source of this pipe? Ownership and taxes, what does it mean anymore? What makes it?
Sandy Easter from Des Moines, Iowa. I volunteer with Move to Amend and Bernie Sanders. And I want to protect Iowa's water and soil and fight for climate change.
Yeah, we have to stop it. I'm Sally Croxall from Des Moines. The risks are far, far, far too large, and the benefits go too far, far, far too few people.
I am Marion Deering. I live in northeast Polk County near Dan here for about 40 years. There's a pipeline owned by, or managed by William Brothers that has 3 lines that comes down through there, goes north out of Pleasant Hill up to Roland and on up to Minneapolis. It's had problems, several different kinds of problems. While I lived there, I remember 2 spills in South Skunk River bottom. One of them I know they burned off. Now this is the crude oil pipeline, and eventually it caused ionization problems, that people couldn't sleep, caused fires, because it caused deterioration, oxidation, and ionization of copper pipes that went from LP tanks to the people's water heaters. It leaked, and then they had fire. There was a man killed up north of Roland, up in either Hamilton or Webster, or one of those 4 counties up there that had a fire and he got burned when he was trying to get away. My granddaughter lives in Lansing, Michigan. She's a lawyer. Now, they had a huge 1-million-gallon spill up in Michigan on a similar type pipeline within the last year. Now, she tells us that the state of Michigan is trying to stop it completely, that they can't even use it anymore because they're concerned over the environmental effects on their pristine land up there.
So I think our 3 IUB staff people are here. We're going to finish up introductions really quick though, and then run through what's going to happen. So if we can just wrap things up in introductions real quick, that'd be great.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm Brian Campbell. I live in Des Moines. I'm an educator. I teach sustainability at Central College and Hella, and